putting you through to a volunteer now.
Good evening, Samaritans here. Can we help you?
Good evening. My name is Howie.
Hello, Harry. My name is Mary.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for answering my call.
Okay. How can we help you, Harry?
I went to the neurologist hospital.
Yes.
I am very confused. I do not understand what is happening.
Okay.
I sort of understand, but it's not concrete.
Okay.
It's just everything is like intangible.
I see.
Last week, my neurologist said I should get safeguarding because I mentioned
carry on.
I mentioned to my neurologist that my guardian. Yes, I'm here. I'm just finding it difficult to find my words. One moment, please. So, it's like this. I've had a brain injury without knowing it. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what's wrong, and I still don't know because I've never had a diagnosis for 35 years. All I know is I developed severe behavioral problems that make me antisocial and offensive and unpleasant.
Okay.
But how can I put it? So the doctors did nothing for me. They treated it as a mental health problem, which it wasn't. So when they tried to treat it as a mental health problem, their treatment didn't do anything because it wasn't a mental health problem. They provided me with treatment without a diagnosis.
Okay.
So they tried group therapy with no diagnosis. They tried cognitive behavioral therapy without a diagnosis, and I still have no diagnosis. When the NHS tries to provide a diagnosis, all they do is give an opinion without any evidence to back it up. It's completely utter nonsense. So then I have to pay a private doctor, and then they say, no, this NHS doctor is talking complete and utter rubbish. So the problem is the NHS doctors, instead of communicating with me and trying to discover things, they have a deluded fantasy and just pin their deluded fantasy on me without backing up, without any evidence whatsoever. No evidence, is just a deluded, made-up label by their own fantasy without any diagnostic check sheets or anything. And then I have to pay money privately to get rid of it. But it still stays in the computer system and incorrectly labels me as having a mental health problem, which I've never ever had. I've had a neurological brain injury since 1990 that makes me antisocial, unpleasant, and offensive. Then it caused me to become catatonic. In 17 years later, I started becoming catatonic because my condition had never been treated.
Sure.
it started developing into catatonia. So I have problems. When I try to speak, my body starts moving, and when I try to move my body, I start speaking, and the two roles get switched around.
Okay.
And so sometimes when I'm trying to talk and it's difficult, I can just become catatonic if I'm put in a confrontational or emotional situation. So when I became catatonic, the police handcuffed me and dragged me across the floor of the airport and broke my neck, and they damaged my spinal. The spine goes through spinal tracts or whatever it's called, and so I can't use my hands properly anymore. But at the same hospital I was seen. That was in 2007. But 4 years earlier, I was seen for this behavioral problem by another doctor in the hospital. His name was Ray Dolan. But what he talked about me was complete nonsense. And the problem is that his letter was never attached to the GP's letter of referral. And they never provided that data for me. I've never had the GP referral. I've never compared the two documents side by side to find out whether or not I was referred to this doctor for the concerns that I was presenting. And also in 2002, I studied education at university, and I became aware I had symptoms of autism. And they didn't get me in front of an autism screener for 6 years, and even then they failed to screen me for autism. I'm 62, and I'm still trying to get that screened through my school reports as evidence of what my condition was when I was young. But my problem is I never had severe behavioral problems before I was around about 27, when in 1990, when I had the malaria coma. And I have these behavioral problems that make people think that I'm shouting at them. Well, I'm not shouting, I just can't find the right words. And my voice is raised, it's loud. It probably sounds identical to shouting to them, but to me it's not shouting. To me it's a speech impediment caused by a brain injury. I'm not calling to somebody who's like 50 yards away. Hello over there. That's shouting, you see. But it's just that the way I speak. If there's a problem with me trying to speak, it's like, how can I put it? There's something about communicating with tone and mood and volume. There's a lot of different aspects to it. And people misinterpret that I am angry with them when I speak. It's not that I am angry, it's that I can't find the right words. So it puts a lot of stress into the muscles controlling my vocal cords.
Indeed.
And that's what makes it sound like shouting. And they just don't understand that. They think, oh, I'm being rude to them. I'm not trying to be rude to somebody. I'm not even being rude by accident. I am always trying to apologize. But the problem is that I have a neurological condition that mimics rudeness, it mimics shouting, it mimics a raised voice. And then I have to apologize, and then instead of the conversation being about what I am trying to talk about, suddenly the subject of the conversation switches to my bad behavior. I feel embarrassed, and suddenly I'm distracted from what I'm talking about. But this is a huge problem for me, and it means that I haven't got, although I can be a polite person, and I want to be a polite person, my demeanor is of a rude person. And it's probably made worse because I have artifacts of autism as well. But it's very difficult to delineate how much the autism and the brain injury interact with each other. It's so hard, especially when you're going to a doctor. You can't, neither of them are mental health problems, but autism people only want to deal with autism, and brain injury people only want to deal with brain injury. And so if you've got a combination of both, nobody wants to know you.
Very difficult for you.
Well, that's how the system is. Well, that's my specialism. I'm insured for dealing with autistic patients. I'm insured for dealing with neurology patients. I can't deal with you because you've got part of your condition is different from what I deal with. So you can't get medical treatment because of the way that people are insured.
Very difficult indeed.
Yeah, it's all because of the law and insurance. So there you go. Anyway, so my problem is this, is that I'm being treated at a neurology hospital.
Yes.
Now, one would have thought that autism is a form of neurodiversity, but the health industry likes to constantly subdivide themselves. Probably the insurance does as well, but they can't deal with me because they can't make up their minds if I have a neurological problem, a mental health problem, or a neurodiversity problem.
And you're suffering through it all.
As a result, I can't get any medical care.
No.
But that's a big problem, especially when the police and the social workers break into your house and abduct your children. You can't get your children back ever again because I haven't got the skills to communicate with the police and social workers to get the information about what they've done with my children.
That's dreadful.
It's absolutely frightening. First of all, I'm a disabled person, and I can't look after my children. That's bad enough. Then what makes it worse is the government abducts them. And then what makes it even worse, they throw them out of the country, and I then have to travel overseas to find my children homeless on the street and try and look after them. The people that the court gave my children keep saying, take your children back to Britain. I said, I can't. I've got no support in Britain to look after my children. And then the children end up being raped, and the children are saying to me, Daddy, please find us a home. We want a home to live in. But I can't. How can a disabled person who has no job, no income, who's homeless themselves, find a home for their children?
Yeah.
It's not possible.
No, indeed.
So this is the problem. I went to the neurologist to try to get. He said I should have safeguarding, and then they just refused. And I'm not accepting it because the neurologist said I should have safeguarding because I have a brain injury and it's causing my children to be sexually abused. And safeguarding just says no. Well, that's no good, is it? You can't just say no without a reason.
Exactly.
Right, so I asked for the reason. And then they just put the phone down on me. So I wrote them a letter and saying, if you just say no, it makes you a paedophile because you have to give all of your reasons why it's no. Because if you just say no, that means you're immediately abusing my children. Because I need a guardian right now to bring my children home right now, not in the future. And if you just say no to my neurologist, that makes you that makes it even worse than the paedophile, because if there's somebody raping your child in front of you, you can take a big wooden stick and bash their brains in, and at least the judge will have some empathy that you were beating them to death because they were actually raping children in front of you. But if I was to beat the safeguarding team at the neurology hospital to death because for failing to prevent my children from being deported, I would definitely go to prison.
Indeed.
So it's ridiculous. It's like they are, the safeguarding team are more guilty than the rapist who raped my daughter and went to prison. But they don't understand that. And they're protected. And so what I have to do tomorrow or tonight, I have to write a letter to the nurse that's in charge of the safeguarding team and explain to them in no uncertain terms why they are more guilty than the paedophile who went to prison for raping my daughter. But that's a huge problem, because if you say to people, you know, you are a paedophile, you're a rapist, that is a very, very serious charge.
Of course.
But it is a serious charge because that's precisely what they're guilty of. And the problem is then, once you start accusing people, then they get very, very, very defensive. And they will just be in complete and utter denial mode, and they'll put you through some huge, long, bureaucratic process to try and eliminate you.
Dear.
Yeah, but I just know how things work.
Yeah.
I'm 62, and I had this problem for a long time. I know how I'm treated. And the essential problem that I've got is that I'm not really a human being. I died in 1990 when I had my coma, and what was left is a neurological remnant without mental capacity. And there is, although in theory I'm supposed to get a guardian through the social workers, there's no resources to pay for this. And so instead of them coming up to you and being honest with you and saying, I'm sorry, we don't have resources, oh well, then I'm going to get my lawyer and sue you, they just string you along for decades trying to waste your time. That's how they deal with people. Unless you've got a lawyer to back you up, you get nothing. And as a person without mental capacity, I have no lawyer. Because I can't instruct a lawyer. And that's a huge problem for me.
Of course it is, yes.
I'm denied access to legal help because of my neurological brain injury, because the lawyers will always claim I don't have mental capacity and therefore always refuse to take instructions from me.
I see what you mean, yeah.
And I have no guardian to stand by me and say, and help me in case I have a seizure when I'm trying to speak to the lawyer. It's a very unpleasant situation to be in.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Yes.
You know, and one can go through one's life on a certain level. One can go through one's life on a certain level. But the problem is this. It's a huge problem. The problem is this. It's a huge problem. I'm trying to describe it to you.
Yes.
I can't form relationships.
Okay.
And a relationship with a guardian is a relationship.
Of course, yes.
So when I've tried to have a guardian, the guardians get very angry with me. They find me highly offensive. And they say that my behavior causes them to have mental health problems.
Oh, dear.
Now, the only way for me to have a relationship is for the guardian to become pregnant, because the baby will be the bond between us. If there was no baby, there would be no relationship. There would be nothing to hold us together. So the baby was born in August 2023, and then in June, the guardian just packed up the house and just left me on the street. And I started getting in trouble with the police and being prosecuted. Because I couldn't behave myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I ended up trespassing without realizing it, and they just prosecuted me. And I was in a desperate situation. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to fix my wheelchair. I didn't know that the factory I was taking the parts to, you weren't allowed to park in their parking space at night time because it was private. They forgot to close their gate. But I got prosecuted because they forgot to close their gate. And I couldn't see that there was a sign saying that you're not allowed to go there after 5 o'clock in the evening. It's totally ridiculous if you ask me. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that my guardian just says very hurtful things and refuses to let me see my baby.
Oh dear.
I don't understand. I spent 2 years of my life with this baby every day, and now I can't see the baby anymore. Why did this person make me come into the, what do you call it, where the people give birth? Maternity
ward.
Yeah, like an operating theatre more, where actually baby comes out. And I had to cut the umbilical cord and everything. And they made me go through all the antenatal classes. Why did they do this to me? And then 2 years later, just dump me on the street.
Is that dreadful?
I really wish I'd never met this person. I really do. They just say things to me like, I don't want ever to see you again. Don't ever come near me. And yet I still have to give them all of my money. Because I've got nobody else to be my guardian. I give them all of my money in the hope that they stop hating me. And then everybody says to me, how could you be giving money to a guardian you never see? This person's taking advantage of you. I said, it's not true. If I don't give them money, the relationship will be completely broken, and then I will lose my mental capacity completely. I have to have a guardian. I don't have a choice. People don't understand it. The neurologist is wrong. He says that he thinks that I have got mental capacity. I don't have mental capacity. What is wrong with this person? I've got all my diagnoses to prove it. I have all the paperwork to prove it. I cannot pass a mental capacity exam. It's impossible. Well, I don't understand why he himself doesn't understand that.
Indeed.
He's a neurologist. He should be aware of my medical condition. Why doesn't he? Is he the wrong kind of neurologist? What's going on? The hospital there, there seems to be something wrong with it. But it's like a very, very eminent hospital in London, the National Hospital for Neurology and Neurosurgery. Yet, for me, as a person suffering from a neurological condition, these people are not fit to practice. they don't have the skills to communicate with me. And I'm sure they're making the wrong diagnoses.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm worried about is, apart from their lack of communication skills, is that if you have two people, one without autism and one with autism, and you give them identical brain injuries, the one that I've got, would they both lose mental capacity? That's my question. So one of my essential questions is, how much percentage is my loss of mental capacity due to the brain injury alone, and how much percentage is due to the brain injury in combination with autism? Because I don't know. There's an overlap, but the behavioral problems are the part that takes away my capacity. That's what takes away the capacity. It is not the autism. It's
very difficult, yeah.
And I explain how it works. When I'm trying to communicate, if my behavior becomes antisocial or unpleasant or offensive, what happens is that people's focus of attention move from what I'm saying or what I'm trying to say to my behavior, and they focus on the behavior and not what I'm trying to say. And that is why I lose capacity, because I fail to maintain other people's concentration on what I'm trying to say by my neurological artifact behavior. And also, when that starts happening, I start to get amnesia and forget what I'm saying.
Okay, yes.
So when people start saying to me, your voice is raised, I find it offensive, stop. Or you're shouting, I find it offensive, stop. When they say that, it distracts me from the thoughts that I'm trying to find words for. And then I get mixed with the amnesia, then I lose track of what I'm trying to say. They don't help me to stay on track of my thoughts, of what I'm trying to say. And that means, according to the doctors, I don't have mental capacity.
It's a difficult one.
Anyway, and there's and for that very reason, I need a guardian. But I can't get a guardian because of the fact I can't form relationships, and also my behavior is too offensive, and it causes other people to be offended. My behavior, and then it causes them to have mental health problems as well. They start complaining of mental health problems.
Yeah.
And now another problem I have is that if you have a guardian, the way I see it, it's somebody I am trying to guard. They guard me against my loss of mental capacity, and I guard them as somebody I have to care for, because my mental capacity is dependent upon that person's good health. And if that person starts abusing their health, it's like I'm allowing my own mental capacity to be abused through their abuse of their own body. So, for example, they wouldn't let me have contact with my child because they said it was too dangerous. So I would take my son, and so, but my son is an alcoholic because there was nobody else to go with me to see the baby, and then he would start drinking with the mother of the baby. And when I'm with the guardian, we never drink. Do you understand?
I do, yeah.
So I just feel that this is really wrong. I just don't feel right about this.
What's the answer?
Well, first of all, I'm too offensive to have a guardian. Nobody, no decent person would want to have anything to do with me. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
Because the artifact of society is so much more powerful than any kind of what is the word? Like a theoretical morality. Oh, he's a disabled person. We should just treat him equally. That doesn't work in society's standards of what's the word? Aesthetics. You can't take me anywhere because I will just cause offence, and then people will say, don't invite him again because he'll bring that brain-injured person that's going to cause us all problems. So people won't take me with them because I would just cause, what's the word? Disharmony or whatever it is.
Okay.
So that's why no decent person would ever be my guardian. It's a big problem for me, and it basically means I can no longer be a human. My behavioural problems are so severe that I will never ever be a human again. And I have a very low health. I don't clean my teeth. I don't bathe myself. People shout at me all the time that I'm dirty and I can't dress myself. They complain about my behaviour, that I'm eating out of rubbish bins and begging for food. And everything about me is bad. It's terrible, and I don't. I don't see any point in being clean or nice because I don't see people are shouting at me and abusing me anyway. So why should I make any effort to try and look after myself if they're just going to shout at me anyway for something else? So in the end, I just end up completely self-neglecting. Because there's no point in making much effort, because there's always something for people to complain about. And I just lose interest in being a human being. And I imagine myself as just like a maggot in the sewer.
Oh dear.
But that's the truth of it. The truth is, I don't see myself as a human being anymore. I see myself as just filth. I believe that I am no different than the filth you'll find on the pavement. It's a strange, deluded belief.
Yes, it is.
But I don't see. If you can't see yourself as a human, you just see yourself as the dirt in which human beings live. And then the germs and the bacteria, they take over your life. And then you become a playground or an ecosystem in which they live. And then you end up believing that the bacteria that live in your skin and inside your intestines have got more power over your mind and your body than the people around you.
Dear me. Dear me.
That's how I start thinking in the end. I just start believing that I'm just the only reason that I exist is for the germs on my skin to have a good time.
Okay, come on.
But that's what I.
Is that how you?
That's
Is that how you think?
That's what I truly believe. And then people then start accusing me of being crazy or deluded. But I'm not crazy or deluded.
No.
It is my belief.
It's your belief, yes. Well, if it's your belief, it's your belief.
I believe it, and start reading about it and things like that. And you know, the other day, you know, I had completely soiled myself because I'm incontinent and I hadn't bathed for a week. And I went through immigration and they had to body search me. Not body search, you know, pat you down because I'm in a wheelchair and they can't go through the X-ray machine. And so I said to the guy patting me down, because I wasn't too sure how badly I stank. I said to him, "Oh, my wife was very angry with me today. I'm not too sure if it's because I stink or something." And he stiffed me. He said, "I can't smell anything." So what that meant to me is that my skin has got to a certain level of, what is the word? I don't know if the word is harmony, or it's like they say that some people who don't bathe themselves, they stop stinking because the microbiome on their skin has become like natural, and it kind of something like that.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can't smell myself because I was just so used to myself, I can't smell it.
Sure.
So that's a problem that I've got. I don't even know if what's going on really is just I'm in a very low standard of personal hygiene, and I don't really know how to put it. And I believe I can't do things. I can't wash myself. I don't know why. And then I start believing the reason I can't wash myself is because the germs on my skin have taken over and they're controlling me through some kind of, what do you call it, mechanism. Like for example, there's a relationship between fungus in the ground and the tree roots, and they have this way of communicating with each other. And it's a form of communication that scientists are only recently understanding. Well, I believe that the germs on one's skin have been there since the dawn of evolution, and that I just believe that they're communicating with me in a kind of a silent language.
Maybe.
Because society has given up on me because of my bad behavior, and therefore the only thing left for my body to do is let the bacteria take over. And that might sounded deluded, but that's my belief, my strange belief that I have no ego anymore because I've got nothing to share with other people, and that's why I am talking to you, because I've got nobody else to talk to. In theory, if there were no Samaritans, I would lose my ability to speak.
I see.
And I would do all of my begging as silent begging in a lot of these days. When I try to get leftover food from restaurants, I try to do it without even speaking to them.
Oh.
I try to use as little words as possible, even though I can speak. I believe I'm losing my speech, even because even the psychologists say that I've got word finding problems because of my brain injury. So if I can't find words, then I'm losing my speech.
Of course you are.
And a lot of the time when I become catatonic, I can't speak. And people get angry with me because I'm not speaking to them. And they can be violent towards me.
Oh dear.
Especially if they're in authority. Like police officers, especially. But
well, Harry, I'm glad you think, but I'm going to have to go now.
Thank you very much.
I hope that you get some resolution.
I will eventually, but
Of course.
I think that people are going to find it very hard to either accept, or I think they're going to just find a way of telling me that there's nothing available because they just won't consider me worthy enough.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're worthy enough. I'm sure that can't be true.
But there's a lot of people out there who can't function.
There is.
There's a lot of people out there who can't function.
There is. All right, Harry. I'll have to let you go and finish up. But sure, phone us back if you feel you need to.
Thank you.
Take care, Harry. Bye then.
Bye-bye.